The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host, Marcus Gentry.
Turning now to the investigation into the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery, the News4Jax I-team is digging deeper into the background of one of the men charged with murder. Gregory McMichaels is a retired investigator for the Brunswick District Attorney's Office. The I-team discovered for 8 years of his time as an investigator, he was not a certified law enforcement officer. Now the policy agency that accredits who suspended him is speaking exclusively with News4Jax I-team investigator Kelly Wiley about what this means.
Okay, people, this is the Daily Read, and I'm your host, Marcus Gentry. Now, what this means is, for this guy, McMichaels, who's the father of the young man that shot Arbery, is that all the cases he worked on for 8 years, people, this man has been basically a vigilante, working for the DA's office in that county. Now that means all of the people that he done helped lock up have an opportunity. Their families, their parents, their husbands, their wives, they need to come together and find lawyers and get this back in court so their loved ones can possibly be freed. So if some of you haven't been keeping up with this case, Ahmaud Arbery is the young man who was jogging. He got curious and walked into a construction site of a house and left. The owner of the house said that he didn't think anything was stolen. He don't even know these people that chased this man down. He don't even live in that area. He was building that house in that area. And these people took it upon themselves to hunt this young man down and confront him. See, this goes past stand your ground, people. Stand your ground is when somebody approaches you. You don't have to run nowhere. You can defend yourself and kill them and hurt them. You don't have to run nowhere. That's stand your ground. This is not standing your ground. They went after this man when all they had to do was call the police. If they felt like he did something illegal, all they had to do was call the police. That's it. And let it be. And it goes back to what I'll be saying on my previous shows. And the topic of this show is how the whole white privilege thing and the fear of losing it, when you combine that with the enablers, the people who surround these fearful white people who feel like the country is slipping out of their hands, when you combine the enablers with the whole fear of whites losing the majority in this country, and then you add uneducated people, you have a powder keg that's going to explode America. And then you throw this virus on top of all of that, it's getting crazy out here. It's getting crazy. This man was basically felt like he was above the law. Ain't no telling who this guy is. He probably he could be a grand dragon of the Ku Klux Klan for all we know. They just hired him in the DA's office to help investigate cases, lock people up, and he had no authority to even be doing that for 8 years. You know how many people you can incarcerate in 8 years? This man probably worked on damn near all the cases, all the criminal cases in that county for 8 years. That means every person that DA locked up has an opportunity to be released from prison right now. That's what this means, people. This is off the chain. I've never seen nothing like this. Every individual. What's up, cuz? I'm glad you joined me. This is gonna be an important show. Because every individual that he helped investigate, every individual that he helped lock up, they have an opportunity to get back in court and get their charges dismissed because this man did not have the authority of law enforcement. This leads, now we're starting to see the pictures of why the DA refused to lock this man up after he murdered this young man. Now we're starting to see it's partially racism now. Don't get it twisted. It's partially racism. But at the same time, that woman, that DA, when she gave the police the go ahead to let it go and not arrest him, she knew in her mind that if they arrested him, it was going to come out that he had no authority to even be involved with law enforcement because he wasn't certified. She knew it. And the Georgia State Police and the Georgia DA, the head of the federal investigating this whole situation, they need to investigate her. Because I guarantee you, she knew that this man wasn't certified. That's almost like, I'm going to give my truck drivers out there. I'm going to give my truck drivers out there who follow my show. That's the same thing as me driving trucks for 8 years over the highways of America, putting people's lives in danger and not having a CDL. I can go to prison for that. This man had no authority to even be involved with law enforcement, but he worked with the DA's office for 8 years, people. I'm finna go into more detail about this. Because this is serious. It's getting real serious.
Essentially, that individual at that point in time has no more authority to exercise restraint or control over another individual than any other citizen would have.
Attorney Gene Nichols says there are big implications for this revelation.
So what I think we're going to see, if we haven't already seen it already, is all of these defendants who, if he was involved in their case, all are going to have the right to come back into court and say, wait a minute, I want my case looked at again because he was involved with it and he had no lawful authority to do what he was doing.
You see what I'm saying? This lawyer is basically explaining to y'all that the man who killed the father who was there, that helped his son kill this young man that was jogging, was working for the DA's office for 8 years and didn't have no law enforcement training, didn't have no law enforcement certificates. He wasn't even supposed to be giving out no arrest warrants. The DA knew this. She knew this, people. Now the picture, now it's finally starting to come out that she didn't want to have him locked up because she knew once the investigation started happening, all of this was going to come to the light. That means every person that was locked up in that community that this man had some kind of involvement in, they might be let out of jail right now. Because he ain't had no business even being involved in that case at all. This is shocking. This is shocking. I want to thank y'all for joining me on live. This will be my last Facebook live, unless people want me to continue on with it. But back to the Arbery case. I've done it. You've done it. Everybody listening to my show probably done it. Walk past an abandoned building, and we treat it like a haunted house. Kids dare each other. They showed the video. The man walked in there, looked around. He was curious. It was 5 or 6 other people that walked in that construction site as well. They didn't hunt them people down and kill them. They showed the video of 2 or 3 other people walking inside. Matter of fact, it was a white couple, an old white couple that walked inside that abandoned construction building that this man owned. They didn't get hunted down and murdered. This is crazy. And then we're gonna talk about, on today's show, we're gonna talk about how the fear of whites losing the majority and white privilege, the fear of it is what Donald Trump stokes against minorities. The fear of losing what they think they own in this country, when this country really belongs to all of us, especially the people who was held slave and captive in this country. This country belongs to me just as much as it does anybody else. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the enablers. Now, the enablers are the type of people who keep going around saying that there's no real problem. People like this Candace Owens girl. You know, she's black, but she done married a white guy and she think everything hunky-dory, everything's perfect. This is foolishness. You got white people like Kanye, black people like Kanye West. These are what you call enablers. They ride along with this because they benefit off of this society. If they didn't benefit off this society, like Omarosa, look at her. They kicked her out the White House kicking and screaming. So now that she doesn't benefit off of this no more, now all of a sudden she's trying to get her black card back. Writing books talking about how the whole White House was racist. We already knew that. You knew it. We already knew it. Why was you even there? This is crazy. For 8 years, this man worked. 8 years. I'm finna go a little farther with this. I want y'all to hear some more of this.
One of the men seen in the bed of a truck is a former investigator for the Brunswick District Attorney's Office. Gregory McMichaels has been the chief investigator under DA Jackie Johnson for more than 20 years. Personnel records from 2014 show for at least 8 years, McMichaels was acting as an investigator with no arrest powers due to a lack of training. The executive director of Georgia's Peace Officer Standards and Training Council, Mike Ayers, says it means he couldn't apply for orders of arrest warrants, search warrants, or conduct arrests under the color of the law.
This man couldn't do nothing, but he was signing paperwork, having people arrested for 8 years, helping police crack down on crime in that area. What kind of shit is this? This is what I mean when I say white privilege. This is what I'm talking about. And later on in the show, I'm going to show you more examples of this. Because if a black man would have walked into a sheriff department and tried to get a job as an investigator, they would have asked for his credentials immediately. This man worked for 8 years without being certified to even be in law enforcement. They knew this. The officers that first showed up on the scene after Ahmaud got murdered, actually, I'm gonna call it what it is. He got lynched. That's what it is. He got lynched. This is some stuff right out of 1930, 1920s. The man got lynched. They didn't hang him from a tree, but that's not what lynching. People confuse what lynching is. Lynching don't mean you gotta be hung from a tree. Lynching is when a mob that does not have the authority to arrest you comes after you and beat you up or murder you. That's what you call a lynching. These people didn't have no authority to even stop him. None whatsoever. They shouldn't even been there. If they felt like he did something wrong, they should have called the authorities and had him investigated and leave it alone. I'm finna go into my first commercial break, and when I get back, I'm finna give y'all some examples of this whole white privilege. We're gonna talk about this, people. See, I like to open up these conversations to the population out there, because we need this, man. We need to understand how we got to Donald Trump. And if this coronavirus wouldn't have hit America, Donald Trump just might have got reelected. I don't think he's going to win re-election now. But if this coronavirus wouldn't have happened, Donald Trump just might have got re-elected because him and his administration is feeding off the fear and anxiety of white people across this country. But now that there's a virus out here killing people, white people are starting to wake up. They're starting to say, look, regardless of what my fear is over white privilege being lost, my life might be in danger. So now you're starting to see a shift in the voting population of white people as far as voting for Joe Biden. The statistics say right now, if they held an election right now, Joe Biden will blow Donald Trump out the water. Right now. But there's at least 6 more months ahead of us before the election. Anything can happen. He might pull some kind of crazy stunt that's going to get all of these white people riled up to vote for him again. Don't be fooled, people. He got some shit up his sleeve. I'm going to get into my first commercial break, and when I get back, we're going to talk some more about this.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Wait until it all comes out, but nobody can look at that video and suggest that this was anything else but a setup. Cops or people who are acting as cops deciding to act on their own. They made misassumptions from the beginning, and I know that I'm hearkening back to a case you and I have talked about. They made a misassumption to beginning, but the way that they acted towards Ahmaud, evidence to me pure hatred towards him, pure predisposition, pure bias, and for whatever reason, they were not going to let him pass and ended up killing him, murdering him to do so.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
All right, people, I want to welcome you back to the Daily Read. And on the first segment of the show, we was talking about how this Gregory McMichaels, he's the father of the other man who actually shot Arbery. He was there too. So by him being on the back of that truck with his pistol, he's going down for murder too. And I think in my mind, by knowing, seeing a lot of court cases, the guy who recorded it, I think he's going to turn state's evidence against the other two. And the reason why I say that is because you got to look at this whole situation. He was with them. Have no doubt about this. He was involved in this, which is the only reason we got the recording in the first place. Matter of fact, there was an eyewitness news report that played the audio of the man recording the whole incident. And in the background, one of the news reporters said, you can hear a gun cocking. You can literally, and I wish I can find that video, but I listened to it 3 or 4 times when they aired it. And trust me, you can hear him cocking a pistol as he's looking at Arbery running down the street. He was with them, but he's trying to get himself out of this because I don't think in his mind he wanted to be on some racist stuff. But I don't think in his mind, he thought they was going to actually kill him. So now, I'm thinking he's going to try to turn state's evidence and testify against these two because there's no reason why he shouldn't have got locked up neither. Now he's trying to play this I'm an uneducated white man who can't hardly spell. His lawyer was on CNN interviewing with Ahmaud Arbery. And his lawyer, I don't get this, people. I don't get this. You got your lawyer on national TV basically calling you stupid. The man's lawyer got on national TV and said, my client is basically has a 5th or 6th grade education and he really can't answer too many questions about this. He just knows that he wasn't really involved. He just wanted to film it. Get out of here. You was involved in this too. But I think he's trying to weasel himself out of this. Now, the homeowner, this is key right here, people. I want y'all to listen to this very carefully, especially my truck drivers out there who got common sense. I think the homeowner was involved in this too. He got on national TV with his lawyer and says he don't even know the McMichaels. He didn't even know this whole situation was going on. But I'm not an investigator. I'm not the police, but I've been around enough people who have been involved with court cases to know that these men who went after Arbery saw the video of Arbery going inside that house. Think about that for a second. I'm going to let that sit on your soul for a minute. Why would they even, if they at their house, in their own space, how would they have a video of Arbery going into a private owner's house to know that he went inside of that house? They stated that they felt like he was one of the people who've been stealing stuff out of the neighborhood, which is another lie because there wasn't no crime, a rise in crime in that area at all. There was one incident in months that something got stolen out of somebody's car. One. And the McMichaels is the ones that reported it. One incident. So how would these two, actually three, how would they know to go hunt this man down minutes after he left that house? So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, the homeowner who had a video, because he said it on national TV, he said he has cameras inside that place and video gets uploaded to his phone. So if the motion sensor captures somebody going on his property, it hits his phone immediately. And he can look at it and see who's on his property. So how would two people he don't even know, this is what he said now, he says he don't even know these people that murdered this young man. But how would they get information off a video camera that goes directly to your phone? Understand this, people. This is simple mathematics. You don't know these people, but how in the hell they get a video of this man going on your property? You 100 miles away at another location. This is foolishness. But now I got to get to these this whole white privilege thing. I got to get to the white privilege thing because I want to show you guys two examples. One example is a white woman who got arrested for molesting a kid and a black woman who got arrested for molesting a kid. Now, this is going to upset some of you, period, because these are grown-ass women in their 30s and 40s having sex with 10-year-old kids and sex texting 10-year-old kids. So I'm not talking about that part of the story. What I'm talking about is the fact that the white woman, and this goes on in court all the time, the white woman got 1 year in jail. The black woman got 38 years. So I want y'all to listen to this.
Sure, Nadine Davis did receive a sentence of 51 months behind bars, but because the judge found her eligible for the sex offender sentencing alternative program, that time was dropped down to a year with at least 3 years of treatment.
Now you just heard that, people. This woman had 50 months and she got involved in the sex offender program and got 1 year in jail. 1 year. She's white. Now, we finna move on to the black woman.
Once honored as Teacher of the Year, now must serve 38 years in a Florida state prison.
You, Ms. Anderson, are a parent's worst nightmare.
A jury.
This is what I mean. See, when I talk about white privilege, I know every white person out there is not racist. I know this. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, even the ones who are not racist are living with the fact that they can go anywhere, carry a gun, and people will just walk straight up to you. Because they give you the benefit of the doubt that you're not going to harm me. You're white. You can go in court as a white person selling drugs. You might get 2 years of probation. You black going in there and you done sold some drugs, you might get 15 to 20 years. This is what I mean when I say white privilege and the fear of losing this white privilege. I'm finna go on to my next story. These are two veterans. These two young men, they served together in a war over in Iraq and Afghanistan. When they got home, they didn't like the differences in how people were being treated as far as the races go. So they thought they was going to do an experiment. Both of them are gun owners, the black guy and the white guy. They gun owners. And they live in a state where it's an open carry state. The white guy walked out with his AR-15. Police officer got out his car and walked straight up to him and started speaking to him, asking him why was he carrying his weapon. The black guy walking down the street with his AR-15. Now these two people know each other, but they wanted to do an experiment. The black guy walking down the street with his AR-15, soon as the cop pulled up, he jumped out the car and drew his weapon on this man and told him to get on the ground. I want y'all to see these videos. This is eye-opening.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, howdy. Can I see your IDs?
Up there. I don't know.
Why not?
Because I don't have to. I'm not doing crime.
Okay. Any particular reason why you're carrying the AR, especially around this point?
I'm just exercising my
I
right.
understand that, but is there a reason why you're
Want to walk around?
Well, of course, there's not people out here like causing problems and shooting people.
Yeah, actually, you see what happened in Colorado recently?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And that's exactly why I'm here to contact you guys. I'm trying to find out what exactly is going on. Why are you doing this? What's your purpose behind it?
I make videos to inform people.
Now, in this video, you saw how that white cop, he got right out of his vehicle and walked straight up to this white man walking around with an AR-15. Now, this white man doesn't have a pistol. He has a rifle. He got out of his squad car and walked straight up to this white guy with a damn AR-15 and started asking him questions. Okay, that's cool. Now, I want y'all to see the other video of the black man. Now, both of these guys are friends now. They wanted to do a social experiment to show people the difference in how cops treat blacks and whites. I like this. This is good.
He pulled out the gun. He's getting down.
Now, did you just see that? This cop did not hesitate. This guy was walking around with his phone recording. He had his AR strapped across his chest and was hanging down to the ground. The barrel wasn't pointed at nobody. He just walking. This cop got out of his squad car and pointed that pistol at this guy. He didn't walk up to him and ask him, hey man, you got a license for that? He didn't do none of that, like the white cop did for the other guy. He drew his pistol on this man and immediately told him to get out on the ground. And this is why I talked about it on one of my previous shows, how we as minorities are being taught and raised by Big Mama and them, society, the police, and our government that we're not supposed to have weapons to protect ourselves. That's what we're taught. We're taught as a society that you being a person of color, you're not supposed to have a weapon at all. This proves it. And this is why I labeled this show right here, The Fear of Losing White Privilege plus the Enablers is going to lead to the destruction of this country. That's why I labeled that show right here. Because there's a fear running through these people's veins right now. And that fear started in politics. I already told you on previous shows how this goes back to the Civil War. They never cut the head off the snake people. They locked these people up that was a part of the Confederate Army, kept them for a year or two. They didn't know what to do with them when they should have executed them. They sent them back home as heroes. These racist white people who wanted to keep slavery in the South, who rebelled against America, against the North, they got sent back home without their guns, with a promise that they would never take up arms against the United States again. That's it. That's all that happened to these people. And they got sent home as heroes. They got statues that we trying to tear down to this day, built in their honor. What the hell do you have a statue for when you lost? That just goes to prove what I'm saying. Why do you even have a statue in your honor in the South when you tried to rebel against this country? These people take pride in those statues for a reason. It ain't nothing about no damn heritage. If you want your heritage, put them statues in a museum so people that want to see it can go see it. I guarantee you won't nobody go in there. There's a fear amongst a certain amount of people in our population that they're losing their grip on this country by minorities. They have a fear of this. And when Obama became president for 8 years, they went on a rampant campaign against minorities, against Obama. They tried to delegitimize him at every step of the way. And now we got one of the most racist presidents in modern times sitting in the White House. I'm not done. I'm not done at all. When I come back off this commercial break, I'm going to talk about these enablers. These are blacks and whites who sit back and they feel like everything is just good. And the reason why is because they're making money off of this type of society. They have learned how to tap dance and bojangle to get what they need in society to make good with their family. They don't care about you. All the Omarosas and the Candace Owens type people. The Kanye West type people. Yeah, I'm throwing his name in there too. I don't care about him being a rapper. I don't care nothing about that. You wear a MAGA hat. You don't even understand what that means. You a clown. I'm going to get into this next commercial break, and when I come back, we're going to talk about these enablers.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Amendment, because all of our rights have some bounds to them. The example that's used is don't yell fire in a crowded theater. You're not allowed to do that. The authorities, the government and the police, are allowed to stop you from doing that because it endangers people's lives. Well, this is worse than yelling fire in a crowded theater. This is spreading coronavirus in a crowded theater, and the government has said don't do that, and the police's job is to enforce that. Don't listen to the cops. Who cares? Disrespect them and the government and do whatever the hell you want. These people never mean a single thing they say. All they care about is my privilege. I want to be able to do what I want and to oppress anyone I like. They should just own up to what their actual ideology is.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
All right, people, we back with the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. Now, today's discussion is about the Arbery murder, basically lynching, and the fact that this guy, Gregory McMichaels, the father who used to work at the DA's office investigating cases, had no reason to even be there. He didn't even have the authority to arrest anybody. And then we talked about how the whole fear of losing white privilege is basically what's spearing this and spawning this and keeping this going. And you got con men like Donald Trump who has no emotional attachment to nobody but himself and his family, period. He doesn't care about nothing but preserving the wealth of white people and himself. Sitting in the White House right now. Y'all got to get this understood that these people are playing a deadly game with your life. I'm finna get into something that's really gonna mess y'all up. This is really key right here. I have friends in India and Africa, in Nigeria to be specific. I got friends overseas that I keep in contact with. And I got a blessing out of this because I'm starting a tech company, and a lot of my friends over there are very educated black men and women. And they do apps, they do coding. And I asked them, because I just wanted to get an understanding why the people in China were attacking black Africans over there. My friend Nami from Africa, from Nigeria, he told me the reason why is because this coronavirus is affecting us minorities more than it's affected any other culture in this country, in the world. It's killing us. Because we blacks have pre-existing conditions that other nationalities don't have. Diabetes, obesity, all kinds of hypertension, heart problems. You know, whites have those same problems too, but it's nowhere near on the scale as with blacks around the world. And the Chinese have figured this out. Not just the Chinese government, but the local Chinese population has figured this out, that even though the virus started in Wuhan, China, a lot of them are coming out of the virus. But a lot of the black Africans over there are still being affected by it. Now, this is key, people. This is why my show is taking off. Because I'm bringing y'all real stuff. I'm not playing no games with it. If I got to bullshit with you and play around with you, I'm not going to do it at all. I'm not finna get up here and scream Kumbaya and Black Lives Matter and rally and march with you. I want to march with you when you got your AR-15 on your shoulder. Like the white people do. That's what I want to see. I want to see you marching with your gun rights like everybody else. I want to see you teaching your 13, 14, 15-year-old kid how to shoot rifles like everybody else. I don't fall on the Martin Luther King side of this. I fall on the Malcolm X side of this. I'm about it. That's what I'm about. Now, these enablers These enablers, the people in our society who are minorities, especially the Hispanic, I'm going to get on y'all head right now. How you going to help promote a man who doesn't like Mexicans and Hispanics? I looked at the statistics the other day. In the last elections, Hispanics, over 60%, helped elect Donald Trump. This is crazy. He don't even like you. Don't even like you. This is what I mean when I say enablers. Blacks and Hispanics and people of color and white people who aren't racist, but they get this in their mind that somebody trying to take guns from you. Somebody trying to raise your taxes. You an enabler. You voting for this stuff because you got this fear of losing white privilege. Now I'm finna get into these enablers. The first story I'm finna show you is a black woman from New York who moved to Virginia. And she's running around with a bunch of white people they call flaggers. They walk around with the Confederate flag and planting Confederate flags everywhere. This is troubling. When I saw this, my eyes almost popped out my sockets. I want y'all to listen. Look at this girl.
If you would like to know a little bit about Karen Cooper, I don't like to be told what to do. I'm a proud Virginia flagger, and we are at Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia.
This is disgusting, people. This is disgusting. And this is what I talk about when I say the uneducated, the enablers, and the people who have fear of losing white privilege is going to lead to the destruction of this country. You just heard it from this girl's mouth. This woman is walking around proud with her Confederate flag. A flag that got blood on it. Blood of our people, her people. She's an enabler. She just said she's contrary. She don't like people tell her what to do. You know. She just want to be out here doing something. If you want to do something, try to fight for equal rights for everybody. You run around here with a Confederate flag with a whole bunch of white people. Half of them probably don't even like you. They put up with you because they don't want to seem unfair. I want y'all to listen to more of this. This is foolishness.
I grew up in New York. I was a member of the Nation of Islam in New York. You know, the Nation of Islam thinks, you know, races should be separate, you know, black and white and stuff like that. And then I came down here and we were more together, and I just realized, I was like, well, that can't be right because there's a lot of nice white folks. I mean, people wave to me that I've never known. The North, they claim that they like black people and they care about black people, but it is so segregated, it's not funny.
This is troubling. This is some craziness. You could tell this woman, she said she was part of the Nation of Islam at first. And when she moved to Virginia, she met a lot of white people that waved to her and treated her nice. And she saw some of them out there planting Confederate flags, and she wanted to be a part of that. I don't even know what to say. This is crazy. I've never seen nothing like this. But she's not the only one. And the reason why I'm speaking on this is because there's been a number of men and women that I've seen inside the prison system who've noticed a change in the guard. Let me explain to y'all what this means when I say the change in the guard. About 15, 20 years ago, we all knew that minorities was being incarcerated at an alarming rate more than white people. I've already told you that when they incarcerated a lot of us black men and black fathers and black uncles, I've already told you in previous shows that they basically took the male out of the household and put the female at the head of the household. I've already told you that. What I've noticed over the last 15, 20 years, especially when it comes down to the prison system, they've taken all the white officers and put them on the outside in administration and hired a bunch of black females to work inside the prisons. Think about that for a second. See, what that does is, this is what that does. It puts black women in charge over black males inside of the prison. It keeps lawsuits down, because if you got black women searching a black male cell, tearing up his cell, disrespecting him, that black male can't charge the state with a lawsuit for racism, because the courts is going to throw it out. This is a black woman. This is a black male as an officer. You're a black prisoner. How can you come in court and say this is racism? When it was all white male officers and you mistreat a black inmate, you have a lawsuit. Y'all got to think about how they playing these games with us. How they manipulating us as a population of black people and brown people. Y'all got to understand how the game is being played with these people. You see, the white male is still head of his household. The Mexican male is still head of his household. The Chinese, the Indian, all the races in this country is still the head of their household. But when it comes down to the minorities, the black female is the head of the household, and there's a check coming into the house to be a placement holder for our men. This is killing us as a society. Now you got people like her, people like Candace Owens. I'm finna get to Candace Owens. She makes me sick to my stomach every time I see her on TV. She makes me, I want to throw up every time I see her. I want to throw up. She disgusts me. I want y'all to listen to this woman.
Twitter has officially locked Candace Owens' account because of the misinformation she's been spreading regarding coronavirus. Now, here's what she had posted. This was the offending tweet. Apparently, Governor Whitmer from Michigan believes she's a duly elected dictator of a socialist country. The people of Michigan need to stand up to her. Open your businesses, go to work. The police think she's crazy too. They're not going to arrest 10 million people for going to work.
Now, Candace Owens done got locked out of Twitter because she's going around riding with these white people that want you to go back to work. Think about this now. I just sat there and told you the facts. The coronavirus is devastating the black community. They're not talking about it no more. They talked about it the first 2 weeks it came out that minorities are dying at an alarming rate from this virus. Dying. Not just getting sick like white people, getting put on ventilators and walking out with people clapping. They got people clapping as you walk out. Blacks ain't walking out. Them body bags you see in New York, those are blacks and Latinos under them body bags. Get this understood, people. When the administration found out that the coronavirus was killing the majority of minorities, now all of a sudden they want to throw open the doors and everybody go back to work. We're not going to stop the economy for this. Think about that. Think about that. Why is we stopping the economy because a few people dying? Who is dying? White people dying too, but they're not dying like we dying. They getting sick, getting put on a ventilator, and then they walking out 2 or 3 weeks later. They're not showing you how blacks are being drugged out in body bags. Blacks and Latinos. They're not stressing this enough. Because they don't care. They want to keep their white privilege. They want to keep this going. Because all of this coronavirus done stopped everything. That means they can't make their money no more. You might not be able to make your money neither. But guess what? You safe. You're not dead. Can't nobody make money when you dead. Period. You can't take money to the grave with you. Got to get it understood. You see, Donald Trump is not holding no rallies. Why don't somebody call the White House and say, hey man, since you want everybody to go to work, why don't you hold a rally and have all of your Trump supporters show up at that building? Go on in there. All you blacks that ride with him, go on in there too. Get on in there. Get in that Coliseum. Mix and mingle, hug each other. Handle your business. Show us that it's safe to go back in society. He ain't holding no rallies. He's a coward. He wants you to go back to work so you can kill yourself. My thing is, don't kill yourself. You sit at home and struggle with it. Let them kill themselves. Let them kill themselves. It's all good. You want to open up? Go on back out there. I'll wait 2 or 3 weeks. See if everything good. If you ain't sick and dying, all right, I'm with it. I'm going to go on back out here. You had blacks lining up for some damn Jordans in Atlanta. Lining up. None of them had no face mask on. None. Every time I step out that door, if I'm not around nobody, I might not wear my face mask. But soon, as soon as I see people around or I go to a store to get some food, I got my mask on, period. I'm not playing no games with it. I get funny looks because this is Tennessee. The virus ain't really hit here like that yet. It's coming. It's coming. They got 2 refrigerated trucks behind one of the hospitals right here in Nashville. Ready for it. To line the bodies up. They ready. They don't care. Because they know the bodies that's going to be inside them refrigerated trucks is not going to be white people. It's going to be the majority black people. They already know this. They already seen the numbers, people. They already done seen it. Just like I seen the numbers. Some of y'all might have glanced over the numbers. And then it disappeared, poof, out your mind. Them people in Atlanta, I guarantee you, Atlanta is a chocolate city. I guarantee you, they heard it on the news because the mayor out of Chicago, Blackfoot, Lightfoot, whatever foot her name is, she came out and said, she was one of the first people I heard talk about it. She said, man, this virus is shocking. It's killing black people left and right. And then it disappeared. It disappeared. Don't nobody even talk about it no more. But it's real. I'm finna end this program. And I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Like I said, this will be my last live feed on Facebook. Unless I I guess some people want me to bring it back, but I'm gonna try to do my live feed on YouTube. I got a bigger audience on YouTube, and I only have 2 cameras. If I had more than 2 cameras, I would probably do Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well as doing my show. But I'm gonna have to only choose one, and I have a bigger audience on YouTube. Instead of having family and friends on Facebook, I got a worldwide audience on YouTube. So, you know, you guys can still tune in to my YouTube channel if you want to see my live or see my shows, and I'll be on there. And then you can always catch me, for all my truck drivers out there, you can always catch me on all the podcasts, iHeartRadio, Tune in, whatever podcast you got, you can find the Daily Read with Marcus Gentry on it. Just look for the green and black sign, people. You know, that's my logo, the green and black sign. Look for it. Look for my name. If you can't catch me on the video, you can catch me on any podcast that's out there that you have a podcast service with. You can download the app on your phone, and you can find me on there. So y'all stay tuned for more. And this is the Daily Read, and I'm out.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.